Hey guys, LaZyboy Marksman here, and I know I haven't posted a video in a while. I kind of got caught up with my life, and then Gears of War 3 dropped, so I started playing that like a madman. I didn't touch the campaign until about 2 days ago, but I sat there and I played Execution. And I'm not going to lie to you, or pretend that I'm particularly good. I used to be good at Gears 1, and I briefly played Gears 2, but I found the multiplayer so abysmal, I never went back to it. Until recently, when it was like extra XP, I went and tried, but I didn't do very well. It was like shooting marshmallows at people 90% of the time, and I got absolutely crushed. So then, Gears 3 comes out. I was briefly in the beta, but I wasn't in there by a means which was acceptable. So, I never got to play a whole bunch, but I did get a taste of it, and Trenches is one of the maps that I was able to participate on. However, when day one came, people with microphones decided not to use them. Not only didn't they use them, but I'm pretty sure that despite pleading for people to use microphones, I was more or less playing with Helen Keller. Because I got crushed, and I mean literally, like, crushed. There was nothing I could do. If I wasn't getting shot in the back of the head with a sawed-off, I was getting cranked with a power weapon that I wasn't aware of. And yes, I know you can look at the overhead or use left shoulder button, but generally I'm more concerned about my surroundings than looking around for power weapons, so I kind of got overwhelmed, and I didn't really know the traffic spots, so I was wandering around aimlessly and literally getting my head blown off at several turns. In fact, I'm pretty sure at the end of this, when I go down this tunnel, I get my head blown off by a sawed-off. Could be an Asher. That was a sawed-off. And then we move on to Gridlock, which I was really happy to see. It's familiar, you know, you're kind of used to the drill, and the fact that they put in the Mad World little tune was exceptional. However, I have some complaints about this map because the sniper rifle never rotates out. So, I'm not a big fan of the sniper rifle, because it's not that I'm not particularly good with it. In fact, I enjoy using it. However, everybody and their mother thinks they're good snipers, so they want it. And even if they completely suck and pick it up, it's basically rendering a teammate useless, so I absolutely hate the weapon. At least with a torque bow, there's a chance they can hit a toe, body, anything, you name it. So I was pretty pissed about that, and I think I screwed up the crossfade on this, because you should see me actually coming in a set of stairs and blowing Dizzy's head off. Yeah, I really screwed that up. So, to get past that, there's me. Oh, I love that when you're playing Afterlock and you get killed with a Somna. It's like, womp, womp, womp. It's really cool. It kind of actually reminds me of a Jack in Box in slow motion. But anyway, back to talking about the sniper rifle, which later on I'm going to discuss a situation with two players, and one of them happens to be the guy that I'm going to talk about at the end of this clip. So, let's get into assault rifles here. I've been trying to get my Retro Lancer Execution, so I've been using that, and I made a horrible mistake, which kind of makes me sad to admit to, but when you melee someone on the ground after you shot them down, that does not count towards your weapon kill. So, all this time I've been dropping people like flies with my retro and then running up and smacking them. That does not count towards the gun execution. And when you charge and poke them, instead of getting the execution like impale thing going on, that also counts as a melee even though you poked them with the gun. So that didn't work. Actually, today was finally when I got that. And yeah, I screwed up in that fade there, you can see, because you don't see Dizzy getting his head blown off, because I thought it was hilarious that he came at me like a madman and I blew his head off. But this isn't a montage either. By no means, I'm not saying that, you know, I'm particularly good. But this, however, is some funny moments on day one while I was playing. Like, this one here is when I picked up the sniper rifle and I go to blow this dude's head off, and he just happens to pick that guy up as a meat shield as soon as I fire. This wasn't planned, it's not a skill shot, it was completely random. And I got it, and I have to say, I got a good chuckle. And as you can see here, moving on, I like to use Griffin because Ice-T is hilarious. However, today I got Hoffman, so that's who I switched to. And previously to Ice-T, I started using Clayton Carmine because everybody else was using Griffin, and Clayton's pretty jacked, so he looked pretty good compared to his brothers. And okay, back to the assault rifle thing. I admit my stupidity with the Retro Lancer. And moving on to the Standard Lancer. Standard Lancer pretty much is the gun for anybody that wants to take advantage of the sheer amount of bullets this thing fires. You don't have to be particularly good. If you can keep your aim on top of someone's upper body, they're going to go down, and there's nothing they can do about it. Doesn't matter the distance, it's going to take them down. And even though the Hammerburst claims to have the distance on all the other weapons, it's still, unless you can hit the trigger like a fiend, or this guy that his name was Puerto Rico something I was playing against, he had a modded paddle, and his pistol and his Hammerburst looked like a laser beam, it never broke up. Oh, here's my mediocre skills with a torque bow. But back to the rifle. The Lancer, I concluded, is the go-to weapon. I mean, seriously, like, the vacuum still happens with the chainsaw. They removed the need to rev the chainsaw again. Instead of you get shot, it just lowers the saw, but it still remains revved. So basically, if someone's shooting at you like a lunatic and you get tagged, if you just casually walk around them and in like a semicircle, they'll still chainsaw them. So that basically, for me, I think the Lancer is the better of all the rifles. Retro Lancer is cool, it's got a pointy end and all, but the sheer amount of burst you have to do to drop someone, if you're up against a Lancer or even a Hammerburst, if you're not within that medium comfort range, you're going to be put down. And generally when you're within that range, the other guy has already switched to a shotgun, in which you're going to get put down just as easy. So in a nutshell, I'm not a big fan of the Retro Lancer. I thought it was cool at first, but now I'm going to move off to getting my kills in for my Lancer and getting my kills in for my Hammerburst. And I cut that clip too short too. I was about to show that guy getting blown up by my digger. However, I screwed up and I'm not going back to edit it. So just deal with it and take my word for it. So the Hammerburst, I really enjoy it. However, I can't seem to really down anybody consistently with it as much as I could with the Standard Lancer. So when I jump back on later on today, or if I get on today, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. It's Friday. I could end up outside. I could come home slightly inebriated. Or inebriated, however you prefer to pronounce that. Inebriated? I don't know. I'm sure Phoenix or what's his face, Delusional Crowd will correct me in the comments. Now, I've talked about the rifles, now I'm going to talk about the shotguns. A lot of people complain about the sawed-off. However, the sawed-off really isn't all that bad when you look at it. If you can recognize the person with it, then you can keep the distance relatively if you start the firefight. However, if you start the firefight and then turn to run and they're on your 6, there's pretty much nothing you can do. Because if you try, like, if you had your rifle and you're running away, if you try to turn and switch your weapon, or even stop and switch your weapon, they're just going to come out of the roadie run and cut you in half. So don't even think about trying to stop and pull the weapon out, or even to stop and shoot at them with your standard weapon. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to take cover while bouncing. Hopefully they miss their first shot, and then you start chasing them, because that's all they do. They shoot and they run. And they run, and they run, and they run, and they run. Eventually they reload their gun, and then they hump a corner, and the chase starts all over again. You jump out of the way, they run away, so on and so forth. It gets very annoying, to be honest. But the gun itself isn't all that overpowered. It does what it's meant to do. They have to get into that certain range to do it. The roadie run part of it, yeah, that's considerably annoying. However, I hope they don't actually nerf the sawed-off. I hope they give the Gnasher a shade faster on its second shot, so that when one of these lunatics runs at you, the first Gnasher shot which you're going to fire is only going to inflict minimal damage. And the second shot you try to fire is not going to happen. They're going to come out of the roadie run and blow you in 2. So when you're dealing with these guys with the Gnasher, you're either going to have to rely on your active reloads or just dancing around them, and hopefully you can put them down by the time it takes them to run. Because they're going to run. It's inevitable. And I don't know why I'm taping this guy, because he's just spraying like a weirdo, but he just completely took me out from my shotgun spiel. So I'm going to take this time that Oh, it must be me trying to show that I did good in the match. I kind of felt bad that I got my shit pushed in for like 90% of the matches. And, oh, here we go. This is the dickhead I was talking about. This guy here kept rushing for the sniper rifle, and if he didn't get it, he just bitched and moaned. So I told him to shut up. To which he starts screaming at the top of the lungs, "I'm not known, so I should be quiet." And I'm like, "What do you mean I'm not known? So enlighten me." And he's like, "Oh, you're not known. I'm on YouTube and that." And I'm like, "Really? So am I." And then he's like, "Oh, you're not known." And I'm presuming this guy has at least thousands upon thousands of subscribers, because he's going on like he is God's gift to the game in YouTube, which had me laughing actually, because two of my good friends, who I consider my good friends, my best friend being Swordsman and Spoonerism, who both have exceedingly large amounts of subscribers. So I'm thinking this guy's as famous as at least those two. However, okay, I'll get to that in a second. So about the sniper rifle again, he runs and some other guy gets it, and he just sits there and basically refuses to do anything else. Eventually, he even quits the match. But as I said, I don't like the sniper rifle because people fight over it. Before he left, he actually managed to get it in a round. However, the guy that was fighting with him for it just sat there and chainshot at him the entire round. So they both decided to stay in the sniper rifle spawn, which basically screwed our team over. But back to him being known. I decided to go and follow him up and tape this so you can see who he is, and then you can go check out his awesome channel. So this guy, who believes he is famous and known across the internet, I get there and it's like, he doesn't even have 2,000 subscribers? Like, am I missing something? Does he have another account? Like, are you seriously bragging that you're like famous when you don't even like have at least 5,000 subscribers? I presume that would make you famous, or at least slightly known on YouTube. So all my friends, check this guy out and call him a dick, because he is.